What's up, y'all? It's your girl, the right one, and this video is going to explain my thought process when it came to me making this beat. So I really like that beat. It's one of my most recent beats, and I'm gonna start with the sample. So I got this sample from Cymatics. This is it played out. So I took that and I came into the playlist and I chopped up the sample just so I could have the stutter effect right in the beginning, so that way it started off like that. And then just let it play out. So after I did that, I went into another track. I dragged the sample over and I opened it up in the piano roll. Now when you get it in the piano roll, it's on pattern 1. When you get it in the piano roll, you can manipulate where a certain part of the sample plays. So if I play it straight out, on all the keys, it plays the sample regularly, but as you can see, I have it on different notes. So with it being on different notes, I had it do this. So then once you hear it, it goes right into it. Yeah, see, I like that. All right, so after I did that, I started adding in the drums. So usually when I add in the drums, I start with the hi-hat because I really love turning that metronome off because it can be really annoying. So with the sample being in an A minor, I started the hi-hats in an 8. These are a closed hat, in case you don't know. And like I said, I put it on A. And instead of having all the notes go straight across, I took every other note, as you can see, and put it in a G sharp. Now, the notes in an A minor scale is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but I have this in G sharp, which doesn't really make that much of a difference. It's just a slight variation. And then I also adjusted the velocity just so it can hit as if a person was actually like hitting that hi-hat in real life. So this is how it sounds. So after I added the closed hat, I went ahead and added in the open hat. And the open hat, I have it on a D, which is still in the A minor scale. Right here. I didn't want it too high, and I didn't want it too low. So I picked another happy medium. Adjusted the velocity because I don't need it coming in hot because it's just a... You know, like it don't need to be that loud. So once I added that, it just added an extra little feel to it. So after I added in the hi-hats, I believe I went on to the clap. So I have the clap in D. It sounds like this. So then after that, I went ahead and added in a kick. I usually add in a kick after I get the hi-hats and the clap in, just to keep the bounce going. So for the kicks, I do have the first set of kicks set up a little bit differently than I have with the rest of the kicks. But that's just because for some reason I just wanted it that way. But all I did was I just made the first set of kicks the initial pattern, and then the kicks that I have throughout the rest of the song is on the second half, and I just chopped it and placed it where I wanted it. And so with the kicks, I have them matching the 808s, so that's why I don't have these all just in one note going straight across. Also, I did start the kicks in D as well. I didn't want it in the A's because it just didn't fit the tone to me. I didn't like the tone, so I put it in D, and then I adjusted the notes accordingly based on the 808. So with the kick, so then, like I said, this half is different, so it sounds like this. So it's slightly different. It's something simple, and then it goes into something like a tiny bit more intricate. And I also adjusted the velocity here just to have it hit slightly different on certain keys. So once I got that in there, I added in the perks next. I only put the perks in different spots because it doesn't need to play all the way out throughout the whole song. I did have it extended in certain parts, but that's just because that's how I wanted it. So with the perks, I also started the first note in D, and I doubled it and put it an octave. I'll just say I put this an octave above. Let's just say I started here, and I copied these. Oh, shoot. And I copied these, and then I drug them up there. So just to add in that effect, so... Alright, so once I got the perks in there, I added in this vocal sample right here. So I found this vocal sample. I also got it from Cymatics. And let me just play it out how it is regularly. So this is the original sample. Pull up on that shit, on that G shit, G shit. Pull up on that shit, on that G shit. So what I did with that was I also chopped it up with the slice tool, and I just moved a couple of the sections around just a little bit, just so it'd play out the way that I wanted it to. So pull up on that shit, on that G shit, G shit. Pull up on that shit, on that G shit. Pull up on that shit, on that G shit. Pull up on that shit, on that G shit. So then after that vocal sample, I went ahead and I added the 808s last. So after that, I went ahead and just threw a snare in. At the time, I wasn't too confident about my snare pattern, but I dropped it in there, and I just went with it anyway. So with the snares, again, all on different keys, I did have the snares all hitting on this A. I didn't want it too high, and I didn't want it too low. So I had it on A5. And just to add a little variety, I added a couple of extra notes in different keys around it, just so it'll give it some extra little bounce. So when you hear it, so then after that, I went ahead and added in the 808s because I had everything else. And I was like, now it's time to add the 808. And I usually put in my 808s last because 808s can be tricky sometimes. Because one 808, you could have the main keys on D, but on another 808, the main key might be a F sharp. So it's just funny like that. So I usually start with the high notes. And then when I figure out the right tones, I bring it down into the proper key. And so this is how it sounds with the 808.
Pull up on that shit, on that G shit, G shit. Pull up on that shit, on that G shit. Pull up on that shit, on that G shit. Pull up on that shit, on that G shit.
Now, as you can see, I do have two different patterns when it comes to the 808s. I have it basic in the beginning, just like with the kicks, and then I have it switched up on the second half. Same way with the kicks. I have it hitting right with the kicks, so that way it just gives it that same feel. So once you put it all together, it's just a masterpiece. So once I did all that, of course, I went over here into the mixer, and I have this set up from my original template. I call my template the right way because this is how I want it set up. So I have my 808, my kick, my clap, snare, perk, closed hat, open hat. I have one for a reverse crash and crash, but I didn't use one in this beat. I may still put one in there, but I just haven't. The vocal sample, I don't have a texture, and I don't have any keys, and I have the original sample and then the sample that I manipulated. And then for my auxiliary bus, I have the 808 and the kick together, the clap, snare, perk together, the hats, the vocal sample, and the original sample and my sample mix together on one channel. So once I get the sounds all routed to the mixer, I adjust the volumes accordingly to the best of my ability. And for each one, like I do very basic, very limited mixing. So that way, if I want to send it off to somebody else for them to listen to it and to like enhance the mix, they still have room to do what it is that they need to do to it. So for the 808, I just have a basic EQ and reverb. I think I put that on basically everything. Kick, EQ, clap, EQ, reverb, snare, EQ, reverb, perk, EQ, reverb, hat, EQ, reverb, open hat, EQ, vocal, EQ, reverb, sample, EQ, reverb. Nothing on my mix. I probably need to put something on there, but it sounds decent so far. And then, like I said, I just have all of these rerouted to over here, so that way I can just give it, or have somebody else give it like a final mix based on what I have here. So once I put all that together, oh, and for like any other producers and engineers that's watching this, or even artists that may know, certain things about producing music or Fruity Loops in particular, as you can see, I don't have any automation tracks or anything like that. I didn't even do anything like that. I don't even have gross beat on here. It's just a basic beat. I just found a sample and I threw a beat on it, and it turned it out kind of hot. So I went with it, and I posted it on one of my most recent reels promoting one of my newest t-shirt creations, and there you go. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel to be on the lookout for other beat making videos that I'm about to come out with. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram at THEWR1GHT, TikTok DJ Phoenix17, Snapchat THEWR1GHT. Y'all go follow me on there to keep up with me, to go see what my next beats are, what my next content I produced, or any other products that I'm making. Artists, producers, engineers, hit me up for any collaborations that you might want to do. It's still a lot of y'all that I need to link up with. I'm coming for y'all soon, I promise. I'm gonna be back outside in a minute. I gotta get a couple more things together, and then we can get going. So make sure y'all hit me up and let's work.